Hey guys, we wanted to make an announcement today. It wasn't a gigantic announcement. We did drop some hints on some of our classes yesterday and this morning. For those of you guys that weren't able to see Governor Abbott speak yesterday, he brought us fantastic news. And that is that we are allowed to reopen on May 18th. So that's very exciting news. Behemoth Gym is set to reopen its doors on May 18th. Now what that looks like is kind of a different story. The way that the city has kind of reopened in phases is the same kind of approach that we will take. We will reopen in phases. But what we are certain of is that our doors will be open. We will be ready to operate on May 18th, just like I would presume a lot of other gyms are. Now, I want to talk to you about some very important information that does concern everybody that is watching this, whether you have plans to join us on the 18th, plans to join us down the road, or plans to continue forward with these awesome virtual services that we've been providing. Now, we want to, we're about 2 weeks out from May 18th, so the important stuff that Governor Abbott talked to us about yesterday was strict parameters on operating. So number one is when we do open our doors, we will be operating at a 25% capacity approach, which probably will put our classes capped at about 10 people to start. If you've noticed our social post today on Instagram, we've made 8 by 10 foot boxes inside of the gym only on the main floor to start. And that is plenty of room for an individual to be in a box, have access to potentially a piece of equipment, multiple pieces of equipment, piece of a rower or a bike, and still have room to potentially exit their box and move to, say, a restroom or exit the facility. As far as class offerings go, that is something that we don't know concrete answers yet, but we do know that initially we will start with a very similar, if not the same schedule that we currently have. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5:30 in the morning, Monday through Saturday, 9:30 in the morning, and then Monday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. We will not change our current schedule. Now, what that means for in-person offerings, we're not necessarily sure as of yet, but those are details that are going to be released as we go along this process and start moving close to May 18th. I will let you know, those of you guys that are wondering about virtual services, for at least the time being, we are going to continue to fulfill both in-person and virtual services. I know a lot of you guys have gotten into a groove and have felt very comfortable at home and maybe aren't necessarily ready to move back into a physical space with us, and we completely respect that and we want to honor that as well. So we're going to continue to provide the awesome and excellent virtual services that we are currently, along with our in-person services as well. Other things that we want to talk about that I'll let Leah elaborate a little bit more on is like things like bathroom use, gloves. We are mandated to make sure that people are wearing gloves in our facility, and maybe some other details that we heard yesterday.
Yeah, so that's really the gist of it. So ultimately, like Asia said, we'll release more specific details as we know a little bit more and we can put our heads together. But as we know right now, you guys all have equipment for the most part. So anything that is brought into the gym, if you were to bring a yoga mat, if you bring your own set of dumbbells, chances are early on, if you have your equipment, we'll have you bring it with you and take it home with you, but it is required that whatever you bring in with you is disinfected when you come in and before you leave. So we'll definitely have some wipes and some sanitization pieces for you to be able to do that, but that will eliminate multiple people using the same equipment over and over again. We will also, as a gym, follow the guidelines to sanitizing everything at the end of each class. And we also will be spraying the gym again with disinfects and their awesome solution before we get rolling. Our cleaning crew will be back. So all of those things on our end are already taken care of. One of the things that they mentioned were that bathrooms, so they said showers and locker rooms are off limits. So what we know is that when they're talking about gyms, typically they're talking about a bigger country club style, global gym style, where there's a huge space with showers and locker rooms where people can kind of convene. We don't necessarily think that means toilets, but to minimize things, we are going to have some restrictions at first, like one person in the bathroom at a time, making sure that you wipe down door handles, wash your hands, things like that, and probably just going to try to elect that the bathrooms stay for emergency purposes only. Those things happen, it's fine, but if you can come to the gym without using the bathroom, even better. Also, Governor Abbott said for gym use, you must wear gloves that cover the entire hand and entire fingers. We understand that that's not ideal or the most comfortable option, but it's what we have to do to open up. So if you plan on joining us in person at the gym, we wanted to put this PSA out earlier than later because we want to provide you the opportunity to grab gloves of your choice. We'll have some disposable, like rubber medical gloves on hand for anyone who doesn't have them, but that's not going to be ideal for handling equipment. It's not going to be the most comfortable. So if you have a great pair of fitted gardening gloves, some batting gloves that you could get, you could support a business, go to Academy, grab some gloves, whatever you need to do. Something that fits the hand nicely, you can get it in your size and that you can wash, is probably going to be the most ideal. There's sports gloves that are going to help grip-wise, whereas like a medical disposable glove probably isn't the most ideal option. So we will supply those for you, but this gives you 2 weeks to hop on Amazon, hop on the internet, or visit a local store and pick those up. And then last but not least, just kind of understanding that changes might be made from the government in the next couple weeks before we open, so we'll continue to update you guys, but we will have the gym set up, we will have all sanitizing, disinfectant measures covered on our end, and we'll make sure you guys have what you need to start. We'll roll out schedule, details, how to sign up, all of those things, but just understand, and as we reiterate, just because we are open doesn't mean you have to physically show up to get classes and to get coaching. We'll have options, like Asia said, for the virtual class, and by no means do you need to feel like you're going to miss something or miss out by not showing up in person. So if you don't want to deal with gloves, you don't want to deal with sanitizing, great, we have options for your garage for the first month or so as we roll in, but just know that we're kind of figuring things out for all parties. Some people ready to hop in right now, some people not, and we're just kind of providing options so that everyone can kind of work out as they desire and get back into a flow of a more normal routine.
Yeah, 100%. Just to highlight some of the pieces that Leah discussed. Number one, sanitization. There will be a strict sanitization policy within our gym. Like she had mentioned, we have already contacted Disinfects. They will do a complete full facility spray before we re-enter on the 18th. And we are also picking back up with our previous cleaning service, which cleans numerous times throughout the week. And even though our schedule will be reduced, they are picking up on full schedule as if we had a full schedule. So we're taking that very, very seriously. There will be a very stringent policy when it comes to washing hands upon entering facility, exiting facility, and even if for some reason somebody needs to follow through with an emergency restroom visit, there will be a specific sanitization protocol that's necessary within the bathroom as well. But just to stress, if you can handle those things at home, like please handle those things at home. And then the probably most important piece of this Facebook Live is getting gloves. If you guys have any plans on returning back to our facility on the 18th or even around that date and you want to come in to train, please get yourself a pair of gloves. Do not rely on us to provide you rubber medical gloves because that seems highly uncomfortable, and with knurled handles on barbells and kettlebells and dumbbells, like those things will tear very simply. All right, Coach Leah is demonstrating the Michael Jackson, aka O.J. Simpson glove. Let's have two of those too, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah, it could be white.
Hold on.
But
right.
In my personal opinion, I would strongly encourage you guys to get some gloves that have been created for people to wear comfortably. So yes, like gardening, work gloves, baseball gloves. I don't know about football gloves with all that adhesive on there, but for the most part, get yourself some gloves. We will have some emergency backups though, but they won't be comfortable, and I'm sure you'll probably go through numerous pairs of them if you're handling anything with a knurled handle. I think that's it. Just an overview of very important details from our perspective and from your perspective if you guys are joining us. I want everybody to feel comfortable within our community, and that's why we want you to know that we're going to continue to provide virtual and in-person services, potentially a hybrid of both as we start moving through this process, and at least within the foreseeable future, because we know and we want to respect the boundaries that you guys have set in the surveys. A lot of you guys are ready to move back in. A lot of you guys may not necessarily be ready. Maybe you're ready down the road. Whatever it may be, we want to respect those boundaries you guys have set and accommodate to everybody that was able to fill some information out. I know we got one question from Suzanne Parton here. She missed the beginning, but yes, we will limit how many people are in each class. We are limited to 25% capacity, which means that we're going to be starting with 10 people classes. And I will tell you right now, I don't know the specific details, but we are going to start with a limited in-person schedule. We can't just expect to go back to running things how they were before we closed our doors. The same way the city has approached this process in phases is the same way that we're going to approach it as well, just to make sure that we do it intelligently and we do it safely. Appreciate you guys for joining. Those that did, share the news. If somebody didn't see this, share it with them. We'll post it for the next week. We'll continue to, well, not the next week, for the next few days, and we'll continue to update you guys in more details as we get closer to the 18th. Get excited, team. This too is ending.